Meet Harker, our protagonist, an FBI agent who goes to a quiet neighborhood with another agent to find an armed suspect. She is less enthusiastic about her atmosphere than her partner. She looks at a house and says the suspect is in there, just like that. Her partner does not take it too seriously because you can't be so obvious. So, he decides to check on the house. Maybe, he shouldn't have. He knocks on the door, a few seconds in, and then Harker is panicked. She enters the door and catches the man simply sitting on the bed. Now, there goes that. It gives us insight into how our protagonist has some supernatural or spiritual abilities that lead her to predict the truth. Now begins the real case of the film, the case of the Longlegs serial killer. Inside a car, Harker is sitting along with her superiors Agent Carter and Agent Brown. Carter introduces Harker to the story of the Longlegs. He points at a house saying a family lived there for 12 years until the father of the family stabbed his wife and children and killed himself. However, the case could have just been solved at that, but they found a letter written in a coded alphabet that did not match any of the family members' handwriting. A similar thing happened to 10 different families over the past 30 years. And each family had the same kind of letter with the same handwriting. And all of them were singed with Longlegs. Pretty interesting, right? So, back at the office, Carter introduces her more to the case and expects her to make something out of it for her extraordinary intuitiveness. She asks Carter what all the families have in common. Carter replies that all the families have daughters whose birthdays are on the 14th of any month. Harker immerses herself in all the evidence and files that make her connect with all of it, but not without a sense of sheer dread. Carter finds her asleep with all the photos around her. He wakes her up and takes her to a pub to grill her more about the case. Harker has noticed that there is no forced entry into the house, and they have all been killed with weapons from inside the house. There is a clear sense that Longlegs has been in there but not in person. Now, that is spooky. If someone ever told me that, I would be running. She also says that Longlegs is not alone but is rather helped by others. Now, since it's late in the night, and Carter is drunk, Harker drives him to his home and meets his wife and daughter. Look at his wife. Is she okay with this? I guess not. She goes on to his daughter's room and talks about some personal stuff, but her mother interrupts and Harker embarks home. Before leaving, the little girl invites her to her birthday, which is soon. Harker lives in a cabin in the woods. Now that is even more trippy. At the doorway, she feels the presence of somebody and stops, but it's empty all around her. She enters her study and calls her mother but is not willing to share anything. We also get to know that her birthday is coming up very soon. She feels completely anxious about something more than the case, that we can see through her. She cannot speak much, and as soon as she hangs up, she hears a knock on the door. She finds nothing and locks the door. And as soon as she gets back and peeks from the window, the vision is even more scary. She rushes out, with her gun, more scared. But the person is not outside anymore, rather they are inside. Harker gets back in again but does not find anybody. However, there is a letter with her name on it, and the phrase, "Do not open until January 14th. Harker opens the letter and sees a birthday card with the letter 9, indicating her 9th birthday. In the letter, there is the wish along with some coded language which Harker soon decodes with the help of the Bible. And it's this, some random weird threats. Harker gets a call from the office. Another family has been killed. The bodies have not been discovered for about a month, and the bodies are not looking very well either. From her office, Harker calls her mother and tells her that she will be busy for some days. Her mother asks if she will be there for her birthday, to which she replies,
"I'll try."
Back at the office, Harker tries to go deeper with all the codes and finds out that there is an algorithm. She shows it to Carter. Carter, not being as smart as her, does not get much of it, but Harker clears it out in simple terms. She has found out about the murder of one of the previous families, the Camera family farm mentioned in all the letters. In there, the father had killed a priest and his wife, but their daughter Carrie Ann survived because she was at school. But since then, she has been to a mental institute. Harker's decoding has also figured out that Longlegs may kill another family in 3 days. Carter decides to visit the farm with Harker. Let's hope they don't get murdered by some spooky shit. At the farm, they find some X marks, and following them they reach a cross in the attic. And getting even deeper, they find a doll. The forensic tells the doll is very well crafted, and there is a metal ball inside the head of the doll that stands as the doll's brain. It was empty from the inside, but touching it made a weird sound. It made Harker have some weird flashbacks of her childhood with a creepy dude. The dude is our Longlegs, who is wandering about the town and buying groceries from the market. Then Carter and Harker go to meet Carrie Ann. They surprisingly find out that someone else had come to visit her the previous day as well. And in the register, they have written the name of Harker. Harker now goes on to meet Carrie Ann, who says that she has met Harker earlier as well and that she has even been to her house. Harker ignores that and asks her about the man who had come to meet her the previous day. She recalls him as somebody divine and she can listen to anything he says. She can jump if he says so and she can kill Harker if he asks her to. Harker does not like the eeriness of the conversation and leaves. Back at the office, Carter is confused about where it is leading. He is even suspicious of Harker herself and asks how Longlegs knows her name. Harker does not know. Carter also reminds her that from the day she took the case, it has started flourishing. Carter asks Harker about her mother, to which she feels uncomfortable. Carter says that he has checked Harker's details and has found out that the day before her 9th birthday her mother had called the police about a suspicious man. Therefore, he asks her to visit her mother and inquire her about it. Harker decides to visit her mother. Now, we get to see her mom for the first time and she does not seem very okay, at least not as okay as she sounded on the phone. Harker asks her mother what had happened on her 9th birthday. Her mother refuses to answer that. As she grills more, she says that her stuff is in her room and nothing much. Harker finds out a picture of the man that her mother called the police for. And guess what? That is our Longlegs. Not a tough guess, right? Now, Longlegs is identified and is caught in the middle of the road. He is taken into custody where the only thing he does is wish an happy birthday to Harker for
24 minutes.
Now the whole bureau has their eyes on Harker, so Harker has to do something about it. She thinks the case is not over yet, and there is still someone else. She goes to Longlegs to ask him more questions. The creepy dude talks about some other person but never quite clearly reflects who they are until he starts to bang his head on the table. He keeps doing it till he crashes his skull and ends up killing himself. Pretty crazy, right? But not enough, for the real craziness is yet to occur. Carter is pretty unhinged about it and Harker goes on to meet her mother again as Agent Brown accompanies her. Harker goes inside the house but finds her mother nowhere because how would she? She is busy with something else. The gunshot shocks Harker and she runs to the window to find her mother taking another shot at Agent Brown. She rushes out and points the gun to her mother, who is pointing her shotgun to a doll. None of it makes sense to Harker. Her mother talks of Longlegs and expresses a sense of happiness that they are all free. Then she shoots the head of the doll, and something sparks out of Harker's head and she falls to the ground. Now at the flashback, where all the explanation is finally done. Let's find out. Harker and her mother have always lived alone in their house and no one ever came to visit them until her 9th birthday. Longlegs arrived as a member of the church with a gift. It was a doll that he had conjured himself with a little bit of him that could possess the person having it. And it did so too with Harker. But in the case of Harker, Longlegs wanted her for himself instead of killing her. But her mother begged for Harker's life to be spared. And, in exchange, she said she would do the killings for him. She would deliver the dolls to the families that would make them possessed and end up killing them. And all she did was to save her daughter. Back to the real story. Harker wakes up in her bed. She finds the entire house empty as the phone keeps ringing. She picks up and on the phone, Longlegs is saying that she is late for Ms. Ruby's birthday party. Remember Ms. Ruby? It's Carter's daughter. Harker rushes to Carter's house. They open the door and seem to be all okay, but in real they are not. Harker finds her mother there, and the doll is already delivered. They are all indeed possessed, and Harker can do nothing about it. Eventually, Carter takes his wife inside the kitchen and kills her. He comes back to kill his daughter as well, but Harker shoots him. Her mother now pulls out a knife from her bag and tries to jump in, but Harker helplessly has to shoot her as well. Harker is now apparently only left with the little girl and aims at her mother again, as the film ends. So there goes the recap of this year's horror film Longlegs. An astoundingly directed film with a great performance by Micah Monroe that the more you think of the more you can appreciate the story and how it is told. And despite its flaws, it's quite praiseworthy. Movies like these are everywhere. To find more films like this recapped, stay subscribed to our channel, and thanks for watching this video.